Hello, you gorgeous bastards. I hope you're all keeping well. It's good to be back with you again. I would go and do the oh hi you're here only for I forgot about it. It's Tuesday in mid-August, I guess. And first of all, I'd like to thank anyone who's actually supported me. It's great. I nearly cried when I saw how much money I'm not getting from ads now. They really have shafted me. And I make all these videos. I have thousands and thousands of views. There's ads on the videos, and I get shag all for them. It's really, they demonetize everything, or they put the limited thing on everything, and the limited thing is like might as well not even have it at all. The odd one now and again, they'll they'll let me monetize, but it's like it's 1 out of every 10 at this point. It's horrible. So any of you that have thrown a few quid into the kitty, thank you very much. It's actually coming very useful. I'm a bit broke at the moment. Things are not really happening, but anyway, thanks anyway, and I appreciate that. And I want to also mention thank you to Jerry at Sorcerer Creatives from the West Awake blog for a fantastic night in Tuam in County Galway on Saturday. There must have been 120 people showed up, and it was just like an ocean of love. It was an interesting format. It was like a table type discussion, and I was on the second table, which is more of a philosophical, spiritual thing. And the first table was people who were media and ex-media people. That was a really good discussion. I got to meet people that I had never met yet, and I also met some others. Amazing how many selfies I took with people, and just like the sheer love and kindness and the joy of the place. I came away feeling incredibly positive. We've already won. The tribe has won, and the parallel society is a fact. That's just the end of it. It's done. And recent things have been happening to suggest such. The It's up for them. They lost. They, as I said the other night, they not only were we in, did they put us into uncharted territory since 2020, early 2020, but they're also now in uncharted territory. By the way, the whole thing was professionally videoed, so it should be up online somewhere eventually. But the what was I going to say? They're in unknown territory. They're also in the shitter as well, and you can see it now. You can see, when you see. You have to remember, folks. You should really be taking positive heart and good heart and positive feelings from what's going on now. When they are doing things like pushing the crickets and eating insects agenda, have to remember now that that's them falling into psychosis. That's them falling into mental illness. Because their great reset has failed miserably, and you don't hear about baby Castro much anymore, do you? In Canada, you don't hear much about him anymore, and lots of them have all they're all getting. The other day, amazingly, gain of the station master at Gain of Function Junction in the US resigned. The He's probably looking for a dictatorship somewhere on a Micronesian island that won't deport him when the Senate hearing committee subpoenas come looking for him when the Republicans take charge of the US government in the next few months. They're all running like rats from a sinking ship. We've already had the news boss at RTE step down and go back to England, and Claire Bourne no longer terrorising us, pretending to be terrorising us in our garden shed anymore, about how we were all going to die soon. And amazingly today, the editor of the Irish Times stepped down, a guy called O'Neill. And that's quite surprising. Well, it's not surprising really. They're all, you can just see these are not happy people. You take the devil's shilling. You pay the devil. You pay the devil will tell you to dance, and they will call the tune. And this is what's going on here. The suddenly and unexpectedlys are just off the scale now. Also, there's a strangeness in the world. I came back along the N17 on Saturday night, and that's usually a very busy road on Saturday evening. People, there's lots of restaurants and other things and pubs all along it, and people just, it's the main corridor up and down between, say, Galway and Sligo. I think it may as well have been 3 o'clock in the morning. There was no one on the roads. It was absolutely bizarre. It was really, really weird. And I'm looking around and all I see is unhappy faces everywhere. That's why what happened in Tuam on Saturday was just a sea of happy, smiling, loving faces. It was beautiful. And to hear people now talking about the parallel society as it's a fact was just fantastic. And that is the best way out. I mean, the establishment in all the Western nations is tumbling into psychosis. It's tumbling into mental illness, and it's not surprising really, because what happened was that when they began the lockdowns and the restrictions, they're what Klaus Schwab says, their unique opportunity or unprecedented, one of a kind opportunity, and so many of us, so many people, and were left mentally ill by the experience, mentally damaged. And I think many of us, including myself, are now realizing that we're suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. No, post-traumatic stress is not a disorder. Post-traumatic stress, caused by the lockdowns and everything else. And it's starting to hit us. And those of us who haven't been destroyed by the transubstantiation. And it's a well-known fact that people who work in the medical health field often, who run psych wards and psych hospitals, often check themselves in eventually, because it's the weirdest thing. They seem to go nuts as well. And now it seems to me that that's what's happening with the establishment. They're going insane. You had one guy there last week who said that he didn't care if his Trump derangement syndrome was so off the scale that he said he didn't care if Hunter Biden had dead corpses of dead children in his basement. Now that's a hell of a reveal, isn't it? Isn't that some reveal? Jesus H. Christ. That was like, when I heard that, it's like, it's one of those things where, someone gives themselves away with a comment like out of blue like that. That's so completely left field. And you're listening, what? And you say that, that kind of thing. It was like that kind of reaction. And it makes me really think now about Potezza Pizza and all that stuff. And we all know the Franklin scandal was real. The teenage boy trafficking network in Washington, D.C., using Boys Town in Nebraska. We all know that's real. And it all came out. And when you hear that, why did he say that? I want to know why he mentioned that specifically. You see, the subtextual context of someone's statements is often very revealing of what their real agenda is, or what they know, or what they're privy to. And there's some real questions to be asked there, some serious questions. And gosh, and he said that, but that's all part of the tumbling into psychosis. I see it in the mainstream media constantly. They're going mad. They're going insane. Science has gone insane. Politics has gone insane. And it's rats leaving the sinking ship thing as the suddenly, unexpectedly, but not only that, the full toll of the casualties caused in the last 3 years is starting to come to light. Both economic, mental, social, cultural, you name it. And these people, and and the gaslighting doesn't work for them anymore, and they can't even gas. So they've begun gaslighting themselves now. And they've begun gaslighting themselves now. It's really amazing to watch, and this is why they're all running now. I'd be very surprised if Leo Varadkar takes the job as Prime Minister in Ireland. It's Taoiseach. We have this weird, we don't have democracy in Ireland anymore. We have this weird sort of like, Tweedledum, Tweedledee system where the two main parties share power. It doesn't exist. And I doubt very much he will actually take the job when it comes up. He won't. He loved it when the thing was going down big time with the scandemic, pretending to put on a white coat so he was fighting the virus and this kind of crap, because he's an eye doctor or some shit like that. And then all these like you lid, you fucking lid, what while you know what while Trump is telling people to drink bleach. I'm so proud of Leo. He's gone into to fight the virus. Oh, it says this. Stackpool Nifinacon of the Dorky Socialist Workers Group, in his 100% white ghetto, kept that way by apartheid, his money, his family's money, and that kind of thing. He's legal, and he put on a coat for a photo shoot and doctor's coat. He's too much. He won't stay around. He'll do a runner if the shit hits the fan. I think it's really it's. I'm telling you, I'm going around the country now, and I'm seeing genuine anger now. Genuine anger. You see, woke and things like being deeply concerned about climate change are products of decadence. And when you don't have food or electricity or a job, you don't care about those things because your immediate survival. That's why they're upper middle class things. You don't care about them, and so they're going to start scarpering, but they're not going to get away with it. Not at all. Not at all. I mean, if your hands are dirty from either being involved in public policies that was catastrophically disaster, either by stupidity, egotism, enjoying locking people down, or doing it for your WEF masters, doesn't matter. You're gonna be paid for that. You're gonna pay for that. The abyss waits. Likewise, if you are part of the psychological terrorism operation in the media to terrorize people into thinking that the only hope they had in life was to get the fully transubstantiated right past the boy I said boy, and left people terrified that they'd never have a job or their freedom or even their health unless they took it. You converse them into it. And lots of those people are very ill now. So you're responsible. So you can run away all you like, but you're a psychological terrorist who took part in this. You know, you not you it would be wrong for you to get away with this. You have to be held accountable. And it will happen. I mean, in Ireland, the IT sector is starting to show now it's starting to collapse, and that's really what keeps everything expensive in here. But it's also shot itself in the foot because the data centers thing, they've opened massive data centers in Ireland that use up huge amounts of electricity, while they tell the ordinary Irish person, yeah, and sorry, the lights might be switched off this winter because we don't have enough power on the grid. But the data centers kept on because it's part of the police state and everything else like that. But that's what Irish people are finally wising up. Finally, if you saw the demographic of people that were there in Tuam on Sunday, that it was Ireland. It was everything from some guy bringing his elderly mother down to middle class, upper class, people involved in professional jobs, people involved in the healthcare service, people involved in all kinds of things. Everything. It was Ireland right there in front of you. A very healthy mix of male and female, and that was it. That was it, and all the social groups represented in one way or another, and everyone just being in a love, and it was very well organized as well. Well done, Jerry. And it was just very beautiful to be around this, very beautiful, and it it. You go to these. One of the things I didn't go to I told people not to go, or they don't not tell them not to go. Why they shouldn't go if they don't want to protest and marches is because you often come away feeling horrible, feeling much worse, and they're also very easy things to infiltrate by, particularly Sinn Féin. Sinn Féin will infiltrate any kind of any kind of people's movement in this country and start waving Palestinian flags. This is their job. Their job is to break up any sense of Irish identity by having you worried more about Palestine than your own country. And that's, so they and the whole thing is with the left, their obsession with Palestine is completely driven by hatred of Jews. It's not driven by nothing else. They can lie to their teeth saying, "Oh, it's not that way." But it's driven by hatred of Jews. And when Fakna ni Funacon of the Dalkey Black Rock, Fox Rock, um, anti-fascist league, post on Twitter with his little flag of a Palestinian flag. That's just there because he hates Jews, no other reason. And they will push the Palestinian thing in your face, but they'll never tell you about how gay people are treated there. It's beyond horrific. The default position in Palestine is, at the very least, kill them. A liberal in Palestine regarding a homosexual is sending them to be cured in hospital. But the default position is kill them. And you could go there and ask them. I'm not saying all people like that. I'm not putting down all Palestinians, but yeah, that's what it's like. And yet here are all these liberals in this country who call anyone else a homophobe with a drop of the hat, waving Palestinian flags. This shows the extreme low. Well, you could say that it shows the extreme low intelligence amongst the left in this country. But they've been tumbling into psychosis for a long time. But it also shows their lack of education, their stupidity. They're often very stupid. They're not very well read or anything like that. There's only so much knowledge in the socialist worker. There's only so much knowledge in your little round table. But the big change is coming, as some people mentioned, when the college semester starts up again. Because you're going to have a situation in Ireland where students are going to go back at the end of the summer to study in college. And they're going to find that the Ukrainians, Modra is Fakna. What's Irish for rat? But anyway, dog is rat. Okay, they're gonna find, and as well as like middle class Ukrainians who have no money problems, going to college and are nowhere near a war zone. In the college beside them, getting their tuition paid for the government for free, all their books, and also they'll be getting first dibs of the dorms on campus, while the Irish students will have to be going searching around looking for accommodation in a place where there is no. It's terrible at the moment. That there's just Irish people just can't find nowhere to live at the moment right now, and so those students, no matter. Here's what to do. If you're going back to college or university in the semester begins again at the end of the summer, and you suddenly are broke and have a big student loan to pay for your college tuition fees and so on, you're living in a shitty dump because all the nice dorms on campus have all been given to Ukrainians, and you resent it. Don't pick on the Ukraine. Don't pick on them. Instead, this should be the final thing to prove to you that your leftist college professor, your liberal arts professor, who says, "Well, we have to go be socialist as a communist because it's never been done the right way." This you'll realize that that's the enemy, and also you'll have the breeding ground for psychopaths in university is the student union. The student union is full of nothing but nepotistic, cronyistic, future politicians, spending the students' money. And it's just that's what they do. Student politics is they're all assholes, and they're all the politicians of the future, and they're all spending your money. And there's been some huge scandals with that in recent years, especially the UCD. But you'll find that everywhere. So don't when you're sitting there next year and maybe you're next to a real Ukrainian who can't or you're next to a dog eat rat, dog is rat, or some other person couldn't even find Ukraine on the map, but is declaring himself a Ukrainian refugee. Don't be angry at them. Don't be angry at don't go, you fucking bastards. Don't be angry at them. Don't go for the head of the snake, and the head of the snake starts with your college professor, your left wing college professor. And you're going to see a massive. They'll do everything to say that these students who are angry that they're paying fees, they'll do the whole thing. You're far right, yeah. I'm Bradshaw Smedley, Nifunicon of the Dorky Back Black Rock, Shankill, Fox Rock, Anti-Fascist Alliance, and I'm here to tell you that any movement towards social justice towards Irish people is inherently racist. Racist and neo-Nazi. Yes. There are these types. And like I've been telling you from the start, as soon as you see someone say anti-fascist, what that means is we fucking hate the working class. That's what that means. That's when you see anything declaring itself anti-fascist, that what that really means is we hate the working class. We hate the working class. You see, it's the same. It's the class system. It's the old class system. In the old days, they were on their horses chasing the fox. Going, tell you who. And if a peasant got in the way of them, the horse would run them over. Oh, bad show. Shouldn't have been in the way. That kind of thing. Well, now their descendants are all in BLM and Antifa and Socialist Workers' Party and People Before Profit. And they're now riding roughshod over the working class by destroying their communities on purpose. But don't go after the immigrants. It's not their fault. It's not the immigrants' fault. It's not the refugees' fault. Go for the head of the snake. Go for the head of the snake. The head of the snake is where is the evil, is the one that's caused your problem. And the head of the snake is the establishment. Now, the establishment is in free fall psychosis at the moment, and you see examples of it everywhere. And from telling us to eat crickets to everything else, and so we have an opportunity here. So we have an opportunity. It's the winter of all sorrows is approaching, and the transubstantiation will be a horror show. So prepare yourself for people that have been foghorn, leghorned, and boy, I said boy, to just not be here come Christmas, or well, it wouldn't be Christmas. It'll be like St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's Day, beginning of end of February, March, April kind of thing. They'll be all gone. Many of them are gone by then. Sky-dye is off the scale at the moment. They just it's like a lucky bag when you go to an airport. I was reading about two planes to jets the other day. The pilots fell asleep. What's that from? And it just never stops. It just never stops. And it's only getting worse. And this is why you're having all these sudden resignations. But you can run all you want, fuckheads. Your name will be in the history books for all the wrong reasons. At the very least. Very least. Oh, that's the least. That's you're going to get off the least. The least you'll get off is your family changing their names, so you don't have anything to know that you were. Your grandfather was in charge. Was one of the guys behind the lockdown, 2020, 2021. No, my name is, not that name, but he changed his name, all that kind of thing, and that'll be in the future. But the books will be, but that'll be the least you get away with. The most is, I wouldn't like to be looking over my shoulder for the rest of my life. If I was a psychological terrorist in the mainstream media who had coerced someone's loved one into the transubstantiation all the way to like the foghorn leghorn, they died. I wouldn't like, and they want revenge, and I wouldn't want to spend the rest of my life looking over my shoulder if someone's wife or son or mother or husband carrying a weapon are looking for you, and that's a very real possibility. You think you're getting away with it? You're not going to get away with it. It's not with the situation. It's the way it's developing now. So and you had your chance to tell the truth all along. All you had to do is give both sides of the stories. You never did. The reason why I'm not transubstantiated, and many here aren't, is because we read these documents from John Hopkins. We read these doctors' articles in the Lancet. So by the time Dr. Malone arrived on Joe Rogan, telling the truth about the stuff and got those massive, we already knew that. We already knew all this stuff. It was out there to look for. And again, I have tremendous sympathy for anyone who was coerced into it to try and keep their job, or through love or family or anything. Tons of sympathy for them. But I have absolutely no sympathy for the ones who call those names. I'm Quentin Fitzmaurice of the Kilkenny Socialist Alliance. My father, I come from an old family, and we're fighting fascism in Kilkenny and in Carlow. Yes, that kind of thing. Yeah, they're all like that. You'll never meet a working class person on any of that growth. Not one. And any working class person that's in among them will soon find themselves feeling very comfortable very quickly, because it's all class oriented. It's the class system just expressed through a new manner. That's it. That's all it is. And where you look at the tribe. We are family. You know, I got all my purebloods in me. But also, there's transubstantiated in the tribe as well who were forced into. Not their fault. But, yeah. And we are every race, every religion, every kind of person and social demographic. Why? Because we have a song in our hearts that we wanted to keep singing. That's why. We had a song in our heart that we had to keep on singing. And submitting to tyranny is not how you sing a song. And they imposed tyranny upon us. They imposed and the Irish Times the other day had a feature on that, and so did the Independent. So the phone call had come from like the Department of Health or somewhere, and they've gone, they called the editors up at the newspapers and told them to print the same story. But the Irish Times went one. It was that article that they did on the far right and and the lockdown. Where if you were against the lockdowns, you were far right. You were a Nazi. And the majority of comments on both the Irish Independent and the Irish Times were like, "This is a load of bullshit. How could you call someone far right for being questioning lockdowns and public health policy?" And of course, you got the few, like Facnan Funicons of the Galway students, anti-fascist league, this kind of thing, girls who call their father Papa, and they're hardcore socialists. Their names like Pippa and Pandora. You know what I'm talking about. And if you're a working class person, and this is that, well, you wouldn't be anyway. You'd be a bit stupid. But this working class people are led into hard left stuff through things like trade unions, and then they get in there and they find that they're having to get orders on. They're being told like things that have nothing to do with workers' rights by someone who has never worked a day in their life. Trust, living off a trust fund, or they had wealthy parents, and that kind of thing, and their hatred of working class all constantly seeps through. They want to shut us down. So yeah, it's real interesting. But anyway, so the missing thing continues. There's no one around. No, where are they? It's just bizarre. More I've seen now. What my record of 6 ambulances on the road is now the norm. It's 6 ambulances every time I go out. I'm waiting. I haven't hit 7 yet, but it's still 6. And maybe the symbolism of that. Ever think about that one? Ooh, symbolism. Ooh. And a lot of people are waking up. They are big time to both the scamdemic and the Ukrainian thing. They're waking up to it, and it's amazing how the same motherfuckers who wore the Ukrainian, they were pushing the whole Ukrainian thing, the same ones who were pushed the scamdemic. It's not any chance to put themselves in positions of power. And a song by Tom Robinson, "Power in the darkness, fighting in lies from the other side." Great song. Power in the darkness. Well, he was kind of a lefty, but what a great song that was. But that was when the left actually represented the working class, That's a great. I think it's on TRB 2, the second album. Power in the Darkness. It's got a great drum beat and a great bass line. But Tom Robinson Band, a highly underrated band, I might add, by the way. They were out of the punk rock scene, but they were better musicians than that. A lot of their stuff sounded like Steely Dan, you know, too good to be true. Din, 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 boom, boom. Very. In fact, he actually did a cover of "Ricky, Don't Lose That Number. You don't wanna call nobody else. Mail it off in a letter." I like Steely Dan, the group band. They were like not hippies. So not like hippie bands, but Steely Dan was, they were different. They were not a hippie band. They were kind of outside the fold of that kind of West Coast thing. They were a little bit odder, you know, like I'm a bookkeeper's son, but I don't want to shoot no one. But I crossed my old man down in Oregon. Don't take me alive. I was just fantastic, just fantastic. But yeah, the keyboards and playing was like it was really good, interesting if you were like interested in learning how to like musical styles and stuff. Yeah, Steely Dan were good. They weren't hippies, you know. But I don't know what the I don't know what Donald Fagen's position on this stuff is. I'm afraid to know. Hopefully, he said nothing because so many of our musical people we respected in music have all betrayed us. But yeah, we're here. You know, it's here. The parallel society is already a fact. Now, at the Sorceress Creative thing on Sunday, there was an emphasis on prepping and stocking up for the winter. You only need a couple of months worth of stuff. It's not going to be like it's not going to be the Holocaust, and you know there'll be a recovery period after. We're dealing with the damage that's been left by this dark evil force that took over the world, got the establishment to wage war upon the citizens of each Western country, and then now it's gone. So that's why we don't have the power issues and everything, because they're all tumbling into psychosis as well. They're all mentally ill. The mental illness is showing up more and more. I mean, if there ever was a president for this time, it's Joe Biden. He is the perfect president for the world that we live in now. The great age of psychic implosion and psychiatric deterioration, and there he is. So we have a front row seat to a show that that in many ways we're fortunate to see. I mean, people much younger than me, and there are many of them who see through all this stuff and are on our side. And they have to be the scribes of the future to make sure no one ever forgets this. I mean, it's amazing how you forget things. We was talking to like some of the punters at the event, and we're saying things like that. You know, someone mentioned something like, "Do you remember the €9 meal?" And you forget about these things and say, "Yeah, you have to have a €9 meal with so you can have a beer, and that way the virus couldn't get you." Well, all these kinds of other weird things, and all wear two masks and this kind of stuff, and all the gaslighting, and you forget things. You forget like the absurd. I never even knew about Claire Bourne in the garden shed until someone showed me the video. That's just Claire Bourne, as a TV presenter here, was the primary psychological terrorist during the lockdown, and I believe she claimed to have gotten the Rona at one point and was doing her broadcast from inside her garden shed because she was socially isolated. I mean, see, they were already going mad. They were. I think here's my theory of the thing. When they went for it in April, May 2020, I'm in darkness. Power in the darkness. I look, it's like a Wagner opera. Let's try and do it again. The Wagner opera. Hold on. I want to get dark again. There we go. Okay. I don't know if you can see it, but on the phone, I'm in darkness now. So we're doing a Wagner opera, right? That's my uh, trying to do old Plattendeutsch German. Okay, but I don't know. And then he's on the mountain. Without, I'm a German prince. Will the Lin world kill me? Will I find the ring? Oh, yeah. Then the light comes out. Ooh, see, I'm in light now. And that's what we're living in, a Wagner opera. That's what we're living in. Wagner, great man for he was the one who invented stagecraft, using the lights and stuff like that. and creating themes. Each character had its theme, you know. They all had their theme. You know what my theme is? I'm an achiever. I'm in the darkness. What I like and what I am. I'm an achiever. I'm achieving the plan. I'm an achiever. I'm doing it right. Yeah, that seems like a long time ago now, doesn't it? That seems like decades ago. The whole I'm an achiever thing. Yeah, but darkness, light. But yeah, so we never thought we'd live to see these times. So yeah, so we're all right. We're in the clear. We're safe. The only thing now is we have to protect, and now we can just go after them. They should not be allowed to get away with what they did. There's not enough natural justice in the world right now to do this things fast enough. So it should be very interesting. When I would love to be in the minds of people who bought, Fauci action figures, and hold up to the camera. Remember the early days of the lockdown? Look at my Fauci figure. He's my hero. He's the science. And then that guy after the foghorn leghorn. But how would they? I know humans are capable of like remarkable levels of psychiatric gymnastics, but I think they just don't talk about it. They move on. It's like they go into a kind of a dissociation where they shut off, the guy who was like, the ones in Ireland are going, dude, right? And the ones in America going, come on, Fauci statue, that kind of thing. Or the ones who are pot banging in England going, I'm going for the fucking hero, mate. They are obviously fools. They're fools. But not the right kind of fool. They're profane fools. How they justify this? They don't talk about it. They'll pretend, or then when time passes, they will say, someone will say, do you remember all those fucking Egypts out and they're banging pots on the streets? And they go, oh yeah, I remember, they had it round their way. Well, instead of him saying, it's a telltale thing, you jump in and say, yeah, you fucking idiots did that, it's like the flat earth. I can always tell someone's a flat earther. Does it really matter what shape the earth is? That's how a flat earther always gives themselves away. But yeah, so it's like, the fucking. Do you remember the fucking assholes were banging down the fucking down LA, banging pots and fucking pans when they were being fucking prisoners? Remember that? You fucking remember that? You fucking remember when they were fucking prisoners? Locked up by Boris fucking Johnson, fucking cunts, and they banged their fucking pots, saying, oh, thanks for locking us up. And they go, yeah, I remember that. And he goes, but you would never say, I was one of them. Yeah. And here in Ireland, what the fucking the old lad. Like someone comes up and goes, another former member of the Glenageary and Glenageary Black Rock croquet and best fish. I've never heard anyone. Whenever I hear someone say the fash, the fash, F-A-S-H, an abbreviation of fascist. I never hear that with a working class accent in my head. I always hear it with a posh upper accent. Best fish, the fish, the fucking fish. Oh, I'm going to bash the fucking fish. I never hear bash the fish. In a Dublin accent, I'm going to bash the fish. I wouldn't say that. It's only like, I'm going to bash the fish. You lose ledge. Those types. It's amazing that, isn't it? And in fact, I've been around people who've used that term, not at me, but have been around me, and they're all posh people. They're all well-to-do posh people. Because the fash are the working class. When the fash, when those types go, bash the fash, we're going to get the fash, we're going to deal with fash, we're going to take down the fash. What they're really saying is replace fash with working class. That's what that is. It's a fash to them is a code word for working class. And, because the left betrayed the working class and they were taken over by these types who go, bash the fash. And again, they act like they're the ones who act like the fascists. That's what's funny about it, But they don't even know what fascism means. I mean, what's the definition of fascism according to Mussolini, who invented it? Control of a government by corporations. Wasn't that the whole scamdemic? The needlecraft companies. So they all, and it's amazing how they love the Vax ID because it'll stop the working class from going to football. Yes, football. That's a game for hooligans, isn't it? Yeah, game for hooligans. Yes, yes. Uh, you look at the football games like Celtic in England. OIRA, OIRA, OIRA. We got to stop. We got to stop these people from going to games. You know, we can still sneak off to the golf club and play cricket, but we've got to stop the fash from going out. What would they do if we left them free? Go, go to McDonald's, fish and chips. It's not like they're eating at a Michelin star restaurant like we are, almost best in the flesh. We lock down the working class, pubs with their bitter ale, ferrets, pigeons. Leave them at home. That's why the hard left supported the lockdowns. And you saw that with the civil servants in here that were caught, and the RT presenters in this country that were caught giving a party to their own kind, because the rule didn't exist. The rules didn't apply for them. What was the politician who was caught in Ireland when he said breaking lockdown? Oh yeah, he would issue a robust apology, not an apology, but a robust apology. And he had parties in town down. There was business as usual for them. So anyway, it was that were locked down, and then you had the psychosexual nut jobs who wanted it, who were turned on by it being locked down. See, because they were happy. Even John Pope, I saw a video today, I don't know where it's from, but they showed that in England, a huge number of people enjoyed the pandemic because they had, for the first time in their lives, somebody to tell them what to do and how to live their lives and what to do. And there was no guesswork. Every rule was, that was socialism, right? There's no variation from the actual protocol. The protocol is the king, except for them. They're on their golf clubs and their croquet clubs and their cricket clubs going, fish, just kind of thing. But, what an education, eh? What an education. So, we had what we held. Sanguinosis, and I'm absolutely delighted that so many were stayed alive. And the calibre of the people that came on Saturday night in Tuam shows me what all of you are. And the happiness, that was what did it for me, it was the joy. The sense of joy and happiness that isn't out there with anyone else. And, that makes me very proud. It should make you proud as well. It should make you very proud. That the greatest psychological operation in the history of the human race. And we survived it. Unprecedented. So look after yourselves and fuck them if they can't take a joke. Big fish, little fish, big fish.